hello everyone. This is Dr. Ron once more, and I'm here with a new episode for Boomer Life Lessons and Stories. I do hope this new episode finds all of you doing well and, of course, doing the necessary and sufficient things to take care of yourself and your family, because what else is more important? It is, of course, your family and yourself. Now, we just kind of leading in and setting up what we're going to be talking about today. We had a previous episode, I believe it was episode 55, where it was talking about the first principle for success. And that could be first principle for success in your life, in your business, in your career. You frame that situation. But all of the things that I said in that particular episode would be appropriate for your consideration for however you want to narrow it down and use it. So today's episode, though, is entitled The Second Principle for Success. And literally, this is about any type of success you might be pursuing. It may be a goal out there, and the goal that you're striving for, it is preparing and striving and achieving that goal. How do you do that, right? And so there's several things that one can do that leads you down that pathway that will allow you to achieve success in your life or achieve that particular goal. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, one of the things that I hear people often talk about is, well, I'm not making enough money, and because of that, I can't do the things that I need to be doing for my family in order to put them in a better place tomorrow, right? So you prepare today to achieve tomorrow. And that's a way of looking at life. You always prepare today for tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow is a metaphor. It could actually be tomorrow. It could be next week. It could be 20 years from now. But the point is that you ask yourself this question: what is it I need to be doing to achieve X? And X could be that goal. It could be that degree you're working for. It could be that license you're striving to achieve or get. It could be some financial goal, paying off your house as an example. And I would refer you over to Dave Ramsey. He has a significant background in that area, and lots of videos are available on YouTube that can provide you with help and if you're striving to achieve the payoff of your house. But there's more to life than just any one thing. The one thing, however, that is common is your approach. Your approach. And when we're striving for success in our life, oftentimes we start out by saying, I don't care whatever we do, we just need to get up and get busy, right? Have you heard that? You just need to get up and get busy. Well, actually, that's setting you up for perhaps disappointment and more so for failure. Because if you don't put thought into it, then you're not really going to have a clear path of what's going to be needed to be done, right, to achieve that goal. So really thinking critically about what it is you're about to set off to do is absolutely so very, very important. The thing is, to have a disciplined mind means that you're always looking for the facts and gather the facts in before you make a decision that will affect the rest of your life, that will affect you in the rest of your life. So an example of thinking critically is, how do you handle puzzles, right? So I'm going to give you a riddle, right? And then I'm going to answer it for you at the end of this episode. So here's the riddle. What do you call a musically inclined country gnome who moves to the city? That's the riddle. And I wrote that up several years back, around 2014. And of course, the answer should be self-evident. Now, the only reason why I bring this up as a mental exercise is you're going to pause in whatever it is you're doing, and you're going to think a little longly and perhaps a little deeply about what could the answer of that riddle be, right? And it's almost trivial in terms of its impact on you, the answer is, but not the mental exercise. And that's what we oftentimes fail to do: exercise our brain or engage our brain before we get up and get busy. Kind of a serious thought here, isn't it? Why do we spend all that time in exercise solving riddles and puzzles, but we don't apply the same tenacity to things that are important to us that we're about to do in our lives? An example would be somebody is thinking about going to pursue a college degree. Short story, and I don't mean this to be mean-spirited in any way, but it kind of boggles my mind when I hear that people are going out and spending $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 on student loans to get a college degree, and the degree that they're trying to get will not pay them any more than $30,000 or $40,000 a year when they graduate. There's something wrong with that picture. When you're getting ready to think about the rest of your life, you want to put some really quality thought into it and consider what the ramifications of your actions are. Now, what does that really mean? Well, basically, you have to ask yourself, why do I perceive that there is a need to do this? What is the driving force behind it? What are the benefits of me accomplishing this to me and my family? What are the costs associated with it? Because the reason why I bring this up, there's always a cost benefit analysis, right? A cost benefit analysis. And as long as the benefit exceeds the cost, then perhaps it's the right thing to do for yourself and your family. But oftentimes we fail to realize that the cost exceeds the benefit. And that would be a full stop, a pause for you to begin thinking critically about, again, why am I striving to do this thing in my life? Why do I believe it's so important when the cost exceeds the benefit to me and my family? There may be some legitimate reasons to go down that path and actually to proceed. But generally speaking, if you're talking about a career and the cost of getting the preparation that you need in order to go work in that career field or in that job, if the cost exceeds the benefit, then you're going to be a slave to the debt that you create going forward until you're able to pay that debt off. And oftentimes, people have trouble paying debt off because they get caught in a gumption trap. I'm headed toward this goal. I've got to do this job. This is what I love to do, but the job is not paying enough for them to use those extra funds to begin servicing the debt and paying the debt off. In other words, and this is the mentality that a lot of people have, as long as I can service the debt on a monthly basis, I'm good. Really? Isn't that the wrong type of mindset to have? What you're committing your life to do in that instance is always to be a slave to the debt. What you want to think about when you're beginning to consider where you want to work for the rest of your life, what field or profession, you want to say, is there a benefit in terms of good pay? Is there a benefit in terms of good benefits that the companies I work for will give to me as part of the compensation? Because it's a total compensation that you're looking at. Some companies may not pay for your health insurance. Well, that's money now out of your pocket, right? So you have to look at the cost and the benefit when choosing something like a career for the rest of your life. And many people actually start down that path doing something they think that they're going to love, but it cannot service the needs of the family. And therefore they have to do a full stop and say, I need to redirect myself, my energies, my resources, my time and effort to do something different so that I can achieve whatever I need to achieve to make sure that my family is taken care of. Also, it's not just the cost and the benefit. You need to consider the risk. Now, what is the risk? The risk is anything that could happen to you while executing to your plan to achieve. and it's a negative impact. It would inhibit or impair your ability to achieve should it occur. You see, risk always comes with a dollarized impact. That's one way of assessing it, and a probability of occurrence. And your risk exposure would be the probability of occurrence times the dollarized impact. Let's say that you have a project at the job that you're doing, right? And you see a risk out there that it could cost your company $50,000, but the probability of occurrence is 10%. Well, the real risk exposure to the company is $5,000, right? So you have to apply that to your own life. You have to constantly be scanning the risk, whatever it is that would impede you or prevent you from achieving whatever that goal is. You want to be actively mitigating the risk, right? So you have to always be scanning the horizon, looking for those risks that would keep you from achieving your success in life that you want to achieve. Now, there's something else that people don't normally do, and businesses are very good at characterizing this and looking for these sorts of things. It's called opportunities. So you see, opportunities are the opposite of risk. Where a risk may negatively impact your plan, an opportunity may enhance the ability to achieve your plan, or maybe come in at lower cost or get it done earlier, etc. So you always, in your personal life, as you're striving for these goals, you need to be looking for opportunities to enhance and improve upon your plan so that you can lower the cost of executing to the plan. You can shorten the time frame in achieving the goal, etc. You can improve the quality of the results. All of these are so very important. So be looking for the risk that might impair you should they occur, and come up with mitigation strategies to minimize and prevent those risks from occurring, or mitigate them so to the point that if they do occur, the impact is negligible. It's very low dollars. And then be looking for opportunities to improve upon your plan, the processes, procedures that you're leveraging, the tools that you're using that will enhance your ability to achieve that goal. Now, one may say, well, Ron, this next topic is kind of like risk, and you could characterize it that way, but I like to say it specifically as something separate from risk. It's barriers. A barrier might be something like this, right? And it's not necessarily a risk, but it's a barrier. You want to become an electrical engineer, and you want to go to work for, say, a Lockheed Martin or for Apple or some other company along those lines, because you love to work with electronics. Well, what's the barrier to that? Well, most companies today, if they're going to hire an electrical engineer, as an example, most companies will want a degreed person, somebody that has a bachelor's degree. Let's say that you want to work in the construction field, right? And you would want to be a plumber. Well, what would keep you from being a plumber? A license. You'd have to go through an apprenticeship and go through and check those boxes of everything that you have to do to become the master craftsman or the plumber with a license to go off and be able to work in those areas. Whatever it is, you have to look for those barriers that are in front of you. You have to strategize on how to overcome those barriers, apply your resource, your time, and your effort, and your money to go overcome those barriers and achieve these interim goals so that you can achieve the overarching goal that you would have for your family. And that is, of course, to put them in a better place at some future state and time. So the last thing I would like to talk about just briefly, though, is it's not enough to identify, the cost and benefit analysis to do that. It's not enough to look at the risk, look for the opportunities. What you need to be able to do is through this critical thinking process, you need to run through scenarios in your mind and roll them out and say, okay, if this occurs, what do I need to do to still achieve? If that occurs, what do I need to do to still achieve? If this occurs, do I have to step back and move to the side and then move forward in my plan? You see, you have to really look at things from different perspectives, look at the different facets of the plan to ensure that you're still going to be able to achieve. And oftentimes we find that we will need to re-equip ourselves. And that's kind of like some of the things that I said in the episode about boots against the stream. One of my professors talked about that as in terms of things that come at you and preventing you from achieving, right? There's a current against you and you have to overcome that current. Well, you want to play out those scenarios before you ever see any opposition as you begin to execute to your plan. Because if you run through the scenarios and you say, if this happens, I can do that. If that happens, I can do this. And you want to build those contingencies perhaps into your strategy that is embedded in your plan to achieve. So you see, the second principle really of success is to engage brain, think critically, and plan ahead. And then you must execute to that plan. Okay, my friends, with that, I think we're done. You take care of yourself, and please know you're always on my mind, and I only wish you the best. Take care.